Hello, my name is Kristen Nunn, and I will be telling you about our research project titled, How Can Clinicians Support Learning During Naming Treatment for Aphasia? A review of learning mechanisms underlying errorless learning, errorful learning, and retrieval practice. This research was a collaboration between myself, Dr. Erica Middleton of Moss Rehabilitation Research Institute, and Dr. Sophia Valilla-Roeder of MGH Institute of Health Professions. First, let's talk a little bit about language recovery for people with aphasia. For some individuals with aphasia, their language improves a lot during speech therapy. For others, their language improves a little. As a field, we are trying to determine how to maximize language recovery for each individual with aphasia. Learning occurs differently in different aphasia treatments, and individuals with aphasia can differ in how they learn best. Matching treatments to learning profiles might improve treatment outcomes for people with aphasia. However, ongoing research is needed in this area. In this research, we aim to answer, first, what are the learning mechanisms in different aphasia treatments? Second, how might individual differences influence learning during treatment? And third, how might clinicians support learning? We conducted a scoping review of 3 naming treatments where learning has been considered. These treatments were errorless learning, errorful learning, and retrieval practice. A scoping review means we searched for and read all of the studies we could find about these treatments. Before we go further, let me explain these treatments. You might already be familiar with some of them. In errorless learning, the clinician wants you to be correct. They will give you a lot of cues to help you be accurate. In errorful learning, the clinician wants you to think hard to try to name an object. This is called effortful naming. They will give you little or no cues. Because of this, your response might be right or wrong. In retrieval practice, the clinician wants you to think hard to try to name the object, but they also want you to be correct. They will familiarize you with what the correct answer is, and then after some time has passed, they will ask you to name the object with little or no cues. In this scoping review, we found 17 treatment studies comparing the effectiveness of at least 2 of these treatments. We found that researchers described 4 different learning mechanisms in the study treatments. These mechanisms are Hebbian learning, gated Hebbian learning, effortful retrieval, and learning via lexical access. Each learning mechanism had unique implications for treatment. 9 researchers discussed Hebbian learning as a learning mechanism in errorless learning. In this mechanism, errors are bad for learning, and clinicians should reduce errors during treatment. 4 researchers discussed gated Hebbian learning as a learning mechanism in error-full learning. In this mechanism, errors are okay because cognition or thinking skills help you learn even when errors are made. However, if cognition is impaired, errors should be avoided. 6 researchers discussed effortful retrieval as a learning mechanism in error-full learning and retrieval practice. In this mechanism, effortful naming helps you remember for longer, especially when your response is accurate. This means that clinicians should challenge clients to engage in effortful naming while also providing supports to maximize accuracy. 5 studies discussed models of lexical access as a learning mechanism in errorless learning as well as retrieval practice. For some people with aphasia, when they see an apple, they might make a sound error and say something like addle. For other people with aphasia, when they see an apple, they might say a word that means something different, like pear. In this mechanism, different treatments are better for targeting sound errors and meaning errors. Some studies said that errorful treatment had a negative effect on a client's motivation and emotions. Emotional factors can influence learning and should be explored in future research. Everyone with aphasia is unique and has different strengths and challenges. The proposed learning mechanisms suggest that a client's language and cognitive profile might influence learning during treatment. Relevant aspects of a client's language and cognitive profile include memory, error detection. This is your ability to notice when you make an error, attention, executive functioning, socio-emotional factors, the type of naming impairment. Remember, we talked about sound errors and meaning errors, as well as the severity of naming impairment. Research in rehabilitation, education, and psychology provides tools to support these factors during learning. Here are some examples of ways clinicians might be able to support a client based on their unique language and cognitive profile. These examples are based on research in related fields, but need to be tested in aphasia. If a client struggles with memory, clinicians can shorten the amount of time between naming that same object again. If a client struggles with attention, clinicians can apply strategies from other rehabilitation fields shown to support cognition. If an individual struggles with emotional barriers, clinicians might be able to apply strategies from educational research to adjust one's perception or feelings about making errors. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. I would love to chat with any of you if you have questions or comments. My email is right here.